Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the DunnWisdom Morning Show. My name is Melissa P. Dunn. I am the CEO of MD Marketing Network and the host of this DunnWisdom movement. Now, you know I love to introduce you to movers and shakers, people, women in particular, who are getting things done, women who are making a contribution not only to their profession, but also to our community. And so today we kick off our PowerPlayer conversation series with a very special woman, a woman who is dedicated to serving her community. She is a brand strategist. She's a marketer. She is a public servant. And most important, she is a wife, a mother, and a community leader. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to get your pen and paper ready to take some notes to find out about her success secrets and what it is that she's committed to getting done in her community. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give a very nice, warm DunnWisdom Morning Show welcome to Councilwoman Shannan Lady Ighodaro. Good morning, Councilwoman.
Good morning, Melissa. I am so happy to be here to spend a few moments with you and your listeners. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So help me to understand, well, you just got elected to your seat 3 in the city of Miami Gardens this past November, right?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. So we both started our political career at the same time. How has that experience been for you these last couple of months?
Thank you so much. It has been an amazing experience. I don't consider myself new to the political game. My husband served as former vice mayor and councilman in the city of Miami Gardens. And as a wife, I was always very much present in pretty much everything that he did. And it was just my time, I believe, to really shine and to put my own feet on the ground. And a lot of women in particular have been asking me to be a voice. And so I prayed about it and stepped up to the plate. I'm sure glad I did.
What made you decide to run?
Like I said, a lot of women in our community, there was a lack of what I believe sound leadership. As you know, we are in a point or in a place right now, especially with this being a month for women to be celebrated, where I felt that women needed a voice. And so I wanted to be that voice and to empower women in 2 ways, spiritually as well as economically. And I felt a lot of women could benefit from hearing my story.
So what is your story, Councilwoman?
Thank you so much, Melissa. My story starts with humble beginnings, growing up on the island of Nassau, Bahamas, growing into a very large family. And things were tough for us, just trying to get by most days. But I had a praying mom, and she was the one who pushed me and told me that I'm a star and I could do and be anything that I wanted to be. And so I look at my life as I think back in those 3 ways, planting, grooming, and blooming. So I decided that I'll be the first in my family to go to college. And I came over with prayers and with the little that I had saved. And look at where I am now. It really speaks to the mindset and how powerful your mind and your words can be affirmed by you and others as well.
Yes, listen, I know the power of a praying mother. I have one that keeps me covered on the daily.
Yes.
So I get it. So you came over as an adult or as a child?
I came over at 23 as an adult.
Oh, how was that experience for you? I came over from Jamaica when I was 10. So I think it's a different type of experience versus when you migrate as basically a young professional. How was that experience for you?
It was a good experience. And let me say, even at 23, it was a little bit of a cultural shock for me. But I did come with the mindset and the maturity of having that spirituality undergirded into the fabric of who I am. So I came here with a purpose and a mission, and that was to educate myself. But obviously God had bigger plans. I actually attended Florida Memorial University, the only HBCU in South Florida.
Oh, well, that makes sense now. Okay, because Dr. Artis was the former president of that college. And I know you have a women's conference that we're going to talk about later, and she's your keynote speaker. So that makes a lot of sense now.
Yes, absolutely. I'm never far from my roots, and I always like to give credit where it is due.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so you came over at 23, went to Florida Memorial. What did you study?
I studied accounting. I graduated with honors with a bachelor's of science degree in accounting. And after that, I attended Nova Southeastern University, where I pursued an MBA. Worked in corporate America for a minute, and then I decided to do my own thing. I had to get it done for myself.
I love it. No pun intended. No. So you left corporate America and you went out as an entrepreneur. I know a lot of the women who watch this show are kind of struggling with that decision, right? They're currently working for someone, maybe they have a side hustle, and they're trying to make the decision as to when is the right time to take the leap to go out on your own. What was that decision process like for you?
Great question, Melissa. For me, it wasn't a difficult decision at all. I had the support of my wonderful husband of 19 years, but I really sought the voice of the Lord for myself. You know, this is a wisdom show, and I'd like to share 3 words that has always worked for me. And those words are discern, declare, and decide. 3 Ds I would like your listeners to write down or to remember. And so when I decided, and I use these 3 words as a benchmark for pretty much everything I do. And so with the discernment, that's finding out what God is saying to you. That's thinking for yourself, having the spirit of discernment. So once you discern that God is speaking to you, then the second D is to declare. So you write it down. This is the organization part. Or you speak it. You said, I am great. I believe that I have the power within me to create wealth for myself, to start my own business, to raise my family right. And then the final D, which is perhaps the toughest D, is the decision. That's the action part. That's the part where you have to get it done. No pun intended. So those 3 Ds has been at the forefront of pretty much everything that I do. So stepping into the entrepreneur role was quite easy for me because I knew I had the backing of the Holy Spirit and I knew I couldn't fail.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I think a lot of times women, well, not just women, but people in general forget that all the answers that we ever need, we already have it, right? All you have to do is be still enough to go inside of yourself to find out what it is.
Exactly.
Do you have a spiritual practice?
I do. One of the things, and I'd like to share it, it's important to, I consider that oneness with God. Spirituality for me is just seeking to go to a higher place. That could be for many meditation. It could be for many prayer. It could be for many just getting out in nature. So when I think about who I am spiritually, I put all of those pieces together. But it's not just enough to put those pieces together. I think it's equally important to empower others as you have been empowered. It's equally important to give back to others as well.
Yeah, I believe that. I know abundance is a cycle of giving and receiving, right?
Absolutely.
That's why they say to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yes, much is expected.
You said something that I don't want to slip by. So when you started your business, you already were married. So when did you meet your husband? While you were at Florida Memorial? How was that?
I sure did. I met him my last year at Florida Memorial University. So it was a great fit. My husband hails from the continent, the powerful Benin Kingdom, Benin in West Africa, Nigeria. So he comes from a big family as well. And I believe it truly is a match made in heaven. To put it into perspective, my country, Bahamas, Nassau, Bahamas, we have about 300,000 people and His country, Nigeria, has 180 million people. That's one country in the continent. And so I said only God could bring this island girl and this man from the motherland together. We are doing much good, and we are working together for the betterment of our community. It's a team effect where we never compete, but we complement each other.
Yeah, that's been my experience too, watching the two of you together. I experience you as being like a power couple. So, okay, so I am not married.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice or tip would you give me or any other woman for that matter, who is looking to create the type of partnership that you and your husband have together?
Listen, you've been asking all of the great questions. You're a professional, Melissa. Two words, a spiritual, when you think about it from a spiritual point of view, you can look for a husband, but a soulmate comes from God. It really goes back to what I truly believe, that in everything you do and say, you have to have a spiritual undertone. So a soulmate is that person that you pray for God to send to you. Yes, you do your diligence. You have to work on you, prioritizing who you are in every facet of your life, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. It's important to understand who you are. And I believe that with that said, you will automatically attract the right mate to you. And he becomes your life partner. That person becomes someone who God has destined to do kingdom work with you. We're both politicians on paper, but we're both public servants by heart. Whatever we do it from the perspective of families and from the perspective of our community. And by extension, we're doing kingdom work. That is our first ministry.
Oh, I love it. So when you actually, let's bring in our guests real quick. I call them my co-hosts. Good morning, Sister Wiley. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning, Mrs. Lopez. Thank you for watching as well. I was talking about my praying mother before. That's her. Oh my gosh, look at that. I just noticed that my mom changed her photo. So that's a picture of my mom.
Beautiful.
And my aunt, who is also a praying woman.
Amen.
And me the day that I got sworn in.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Look at that. All right, let's see. Good morning to you too, Tracy. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for joining. If you have any questions for the Councilwoman about her journey, please post them now so that we can get them answered. Speaking good, Councilwoman. Yes, a lot of wisdom being dropped today. So, Councilwoman, you spoke about your commitment to doing kingdom work. What does that mean for you? And how does that impact your vision in your role as Councilwoman in the City of Miami Gardens?
Awesome. Kingdom work to me is really about being a voice for those who don't have a voice. And I believe as women, it is so important. There's a saying in the Caribbean, and it says, you empower a woman, you empower a nation and a generation. We talked about those three stages: the planting, the grooming, and the blooming. So one of the things I'm deeply passionate about is mentorship, mentoring our young women. I often get the question, Melissa, how do you do it? Own your own business. You're a politician, you're a wife, you're a mom, and all of these different questions people ask me. But I truly believe if you're doing it from the goodness of your heart, and if you understand that it is kingdom work, that makes it a mission. And so if God provides the mission, then he will provide the provision. So I get help from a lot of women. I get help from my husband, my biggest supporter. And I really believe that the right people would come to your path and they would help you. They would assist you because the work has to be done.
Yes, I find that too. The right people always show up at the right time. All right, so let's see here. Denise says, good morning, Lady Shannan. This is so true. May God continue to bless you and your family.
Thank you, Denise.
Thanks for watching, Denise. So I know you have a women's conference coming up, Councilwoman. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
Thank you, Melissa. So I decided as a councilwoman that it is important to lift fellow women up in the city of Miami Gardens. I believe empowerment takes the form of two dynamics. Spiritual empowerment, teaching women to understand that they have value and they have worth. But then we have economic empowerment, which I believe is actually showing them and providing opportunities for them to understand that they can take that idea and they can create wealth for themselves. So I'll be hosting a virtual experience. It's a 2-day conference this coming weekend on March 26th, Friday, March 26th. It's the theme, Our Health, Our Wealth Matters. The audience can see it on the ticker and they can register on Eventbrite. Our keynote speaker is Dr. Roslyn Artis, president of the great HBCU in South Carolina, Bennett. And so we want our listeners, particularly our women, to log on and to join us. And then on Saturday, we are hosting day 2 of the virtual experience. And on that day, we'll have Dr. Shirley Planton headlining and speaking to our youth. Many of you may know her. I consider her a foremost authority on addressing issues with youth. So she'll be speaking directly to our young women. So this conference is open to any woman all around the world. I am a woman from humble beginnings. I'm a Bahamian American. And so my sisters in the Bahamas, they're welcome to join in. My sisters in Jamaica, in Nigeria, in Canada, in the United States, East Coast, West Coast, and especially the beautiful sisters in the city of Miami Gardens are more than welcome to log on. A part of this show, a part of our conference, Melissa, we're going to honor 21 women of distinction right here, local women who have been doing an amazing job in our community. So we'll be shining the spotlight on them as well.
Oh, I love that. I love that. For many years, I used to produce a Woman of Distinction Awards in my role as past president of the Lauderhill Chamber. And just to see what happens when you honor a woman, particularly, a lot of times I think women, we're so busy taking care of other people. And we're so busy celebrating other people that for us to be celebrated, it's a very special thing. So thank you for doing that, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
Who are some of your honorees?
Some of our honorees are Sonia Flowers, some Celeste Dunn. There's so many. I don't want to outshine or to
Yeah. But they're women who are leaders in the community as well as in their profession.
Absolutely. These are just local women. Some of them are entrepreneurs. Some of them are pastors. Lady Tamira Bowie. Some of them are wives of pastors. Many of them are from the Caribbean as well. There's a saying, prophet or prophetess is not honored in their own country. But in Miami Gardens, we honor our women. This is a great way to have them know and understand that we love them, we see what they're doing, and we pledge to provide the resources that they need to continue the work that they are doing.
I noticed that the Eventbrite is Our Health, Wealth Matters. Is that your theme, health and wealth? Could you help me to understand that?
Absolutely. That is the theme. Our health and wealth matters. You cannot take care of anyone else as mothers, as wives, as women in this community unless you take care of yourself. A part of the conference is going to be headlined by one of our local doctors, where we'll be discussing mental health issues in the age of this pandemic. I feel women in particular continue to carry the burden within our homes, being caregiver, caretaker, mental health expert
And educator. Don't forget the educator. Now that women have to teach the kids.
Absolutely, educator as well. That's a new job, right, Melissa? That
yes.
And so I believe that it's important that women have the mental health commitments from professionals so that they'll know that they have help if they need to talk to someone. I find that your platform is a wonderful opportunity for women to come online and to share with other women. You think about it as being a place of wisdom for other women to see, oh, wow, if she could do it, I certainly could do it too. So I salute you for the work that you've been doing as well for women in the community and all over the nation as well.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you so much. So, Councilwoman, what made you, I know that serving women is important to you, right?
Yes.
And serving youth is important to you. What made you decide that now is the time to do this type of conference?
We are celebrating International Women's History Month in the month of March. It wasn't even a question, because I think of myself as that quintessential woman, stepping out of the shadows, if you will, of being married to this powerful giant of a man that God has blessed me with. So I had to find myself within that. So what better time to empower women by someone who herself can literally write a book, which I am.
Oh, nice. You have to come back and tell us about it.
I certainly will, which is important to show them that, listen, you have your voice. So I figured March, Women's History Month, where we celebrate the economic, the cultural, all of the values that we as women deposit into this world on a daily basis. We pour into our communities, we pour into our families. This is a time for us to pour into each other.
Yes, indeed. So you mentioned being married to a powerful man and having to find your voice. What process did you go through to help you to do that?
Like I said, going back to those 3Ds, I remembered, and it's amazing, when you have a strong spiritual footing, when you know who you are. It's impossible for anyone to tell you who you are not. And for me, that was knowing who I am and finding it for myself. In my case, I'm blessed to have a successful, but also a supportive spouse. That may not be the case for some of our listeners. It may be the case for some of our listeners. But what's mutual in both of those scenarios is that if you know who you are, you will find that space. And so finding that space for me was taking advantage of my strengths, taking advantage of my own individual base. And it has been, and it will continually be, women.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I find that sometimes, you said something really interesting, that if you know who you are. And I think that right there is the most powerful question, right? Because some women, we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure out who we are and what we stand for and what it is that we're trying to create. And I love the 3Ds. Would you share that again, what the 3Ds are for people who are just tuning in?
3Ds, whenever you are thinking about exploring who you are, there are 3Ds: discern, declare, decide. And to put it into layman terms, think, speak, and act. So 3Ds: discern who you are, declare it by speaking it, affirming it for yourself, even if no one listens. Declare who you are. And then the final D, decide. That's the final D. You have to get that work in. You have to act. You got to put pen to paper, write it down, but you have to act and follow through. Be your own strategist. That's a big word that we hear people talking about. Strategic mindset, knowing how to go from A to Z, or from 1 to 100. You alone know ultimately what those steps are. Put it down, write it down, and make it work.
I love that. Councilwoman, what would you say is your vision for the city of Miami Gardens? Let's talk a little bit now about your leadership and kind of what it is that you want to contribute to the community.
Thank you so much. Miami Gardens, as many of your listeners may know, is a huge city, 115,000 plus residents. We are blessed with having the most, being the most populous Black city in the entire state of Florida. That means most of the melanin is concentrated right here in the city of Miami Gardens. And so with that said, I want to see the city continue its economic growth. We recently opened a promenade where we have people shopping and coming in from all over the world. That's important. We're working on bringing in new developments, hotels and new restaurants. That way the money stays right here in our city. And we equally empowering our businesses. Many of them are Caribbean-based businesses. I believe that these small businesses are the lifeblood of the city of Miami Gardens. Last month, what I did was I did the first Miami Gardens, I call it the Made in Miami Gardens Economic Grant, PPP, where we solicited 10 female-owned businesses, and we'll be awarding them in the month of April $500 each. It may sound like a small amount, but I think it's important to start somewhere. Zero from zero is nothing. And many of these businesses, Melissa, did not, and you know it, did not receive funding from the government. That money went to Farmer and these other big organizations and foundations. And so I wanted those small businesses, those women-owned businesses, to know that we are here and that we are giving. So economic development, I believe, is going to be at the heart of growth, and it will continue to move our city forward. And we want to also engage our millennials, creating that space for the next generation of leadership. When you think about what succession planning truly is, it's engaging the next generation of leaders. It's giving them their platform and giving them a voice so that they too can be successful. Once they go off to college, we want them to come back, or we want them to stay right here, attend Florida Memorial University. I am a product of the greatest university in the world, Florida Memorial University.
Oh, I love that. I'm sure they're very happy to have an alum sitting on the dais.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I would have never thought that the university that I attended as that 23-year-old young woman from Nassau, Bahamas, that one day, 25 years plus years later, I would be serving on the council in that very city. God is awesome, Melissa.
Oh, he sure is. He sure is. I love that, the trajectory, you know what I mean? I love the fact that when you trust and release, that everything is possible.
Yes, indeed.
So do you, other than the women's conference, which I know is happening this weekend, I actually put the link in the chat. So if you want to register, please do that. What else do you have coming up in the pipeline?
Great question. Well, you know, with my humble island upbringing, I always think about our seniors, giving them a voice. And so in the next coming months, I'll be focusing, my lens would now be on the seniors, and I'll be hosting our senior prom. It's going to be done in a safe way, drive-through style. We're going to be doing that in the month of June. Last year, my husband hosted it very safely, drive-through style, and we had about 400 seniors who, this is a time for them to celebrate. They dress up and they come out and they take pictures, and we give them little goodie bags. So I want to celebrate our seniors within the next coming months. There's so much to do right here in Miami Gardens. I'm working with young women, giving them grant monies and just empowering them left, right, and center. That is what I do. It's at the heart of giving back.
Oh, I love it. And the other thing you're doing too, and I'm going to put a plug for my favorite program in Miami Gardens, Live Healthy Miami Gardens.
Yes.
You're actually coming on board as an influencer to help us to promote the flu shot in the community.
Yes, absolutely. Listen, your health and your wealth matters. You know, you have to take care of yourself. I have a morning routine that I do every morning. I spend time and I commune in the Word through devotion, through prayer. But after that, I try to get a walk in. I try to drink as much water as I possibly can. You have to take care of yourself. For those of you with underlying conditions, it's important to make sure that you have your doctor ordered vaccines and protect yourself with the flu shot. We need you around.
Yes, for sure. And by the way, if you live in the city of Miami Gardens and you'd like to get a flu shot, please go to livehealthymiamigardens.com. On that website is a list of local providers that you can go to and get your free shot, your flu shot for free. Any final words of wisdom, Councilwoman?
Melissa, I thank you so much for having me, your audience. Just what you do, empowering women. I consider it a global ministry with social media. We are in a virtual age, and you have to look at life now through a global plane or on a global stage. Just give back whatever way you can, pay it forward. Planting, grooming, and blooming. Planting stage, never forgetting who you are or where you came from. Grooming, educate yourself. Educate yourself through growth, through spirituality, through learning new things, through meeting new people. And then finally, blooming. That's the stage when you have enough to give back, when you have enough to pour into that young girl or that young boy. Never forget who you are, know who you are, and give back to the next generation of leaders. Thank you for having me, Melissa.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. Continue your great work. I appreciate all that you do for the community.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right. God bless you as well. Thank you so much for joining us for this PowerPlayer episode of the DunnWisdom Morning Show. I will be back here on Wednesday at 9 a.m. where I'm going to be sharing with you some success tips that will help you to win in life and in business. Remember, be kind and loving to yourself today. You absolutely 100% deserve it. Be well.